All right, so what do we got next? We have, let's see, we did walk, jump, jump, walk, jump, jump, attack. Okay, so I think only two we have left are climb and die. Those are pretty important. Well, at least die is. Okay, so let's do climb. Go back to animation. We'll add a new clip. Call this climb. And in our project, there is climb frame. So we'll add that there. And climbing is pretty slow. So let's set this to 12. In the game, play. It looks pretty good. About 16. That's a little better. Okay, so we've got climb. And we need to be able to go from idle to climb. I'm just going to make this simple. We'll only be able to climb from idle. And of course, we'll set up our conditions. And this time we need a new parameter. And we'll call this, let's see, we'll set up a Boolean. And this one is climbing. Okay. That off. Now climbing is one. Attack and climbing, these are ones that I've set up in the script. I've added some code for those. So climbing is a Boolean. And then we'll make the transition back to idle. When climbing is false. Cool. So let's see how that looks. Okay, so the way that the actual code is written is when you press the up or down buttons, so the vertical axis, it's going to check whether or not you're allowed to climb. And if you are not, then nothing happens. If you are allowed to climb, then we will get the climb animation. Okay. And we're not getting the climb animation to happen. So what's going on here? You can see I'm pressing up. And up here in the animator, the climbing parameter is getting set to true. But we're not actually climbing. Why is that? Oh, because I did not set the condition correctly. All right, so on a transition, I forgot to set climbing is true. I added on velocity. All right, Jesus. I got it right on the return, but not the entry. Okay, try again. Okay, so pressing up. Now I'm pressing up and you can see up here that climbing is not being activated. That's because we are not in a place that we can climb. So now let's go over to this fence. Okay, now you can see in the parameters, climbing has been checked. So it's set to true and we have our climb animation. It's happening. And I let off and we're back to idle. All right. So that's cool. And like I said, this player control script, I just got it from Unity. I tried to make it work so that the character would actually climb up, but I don't know. The script has a lot of physics and other things in there. It didn't really like what I was trying to do. So for now, I'm sure you can figure out how to make it climb up. I just wanted to show how to make the transition to the climbing animation state. And that's what we've got. Good. Let's go to scene view. Now the way that this works is we've got this ladder here, and ladder has a box collider on it right there. It's just set to a trigger. And then up here we've got a tag on it. It's called climbable. And on Ninja, should go into the player script. Where is it? Okay, so we've got some trigger methods here. So when the player enters into a trigger zone, we're going to check the collider that it collided with, the one that has the trigger on it. We're going to check the game object tag, and we're going to check to see if it's an enemy. If it is, we're going to set our dead animation, which we'll get to next. Then we'll check the game tag for climbable. And if it is climbable, then we'll set can climb to true. And then of course up here in our controller controls up here, if get button down vertical and can climb, then we're going to set the animator.setBool. We're going to use that method to change the value of the climbing parameter to true. And then if the button is let off of, then we're going to change it to false. So if they stop pressing the up or down button, then we're changing the climbing parameter value to false. And then down here on the bottom, we've got this trigger exit. On trigger exit, we're just going to automatically set can climb is equal to false. And then we're changing the climbing parameter to false just by default. Now this works on this little demo. It may need a little bit of working for whatever your project is, but for this it works just fine. All right, let's go up here and let me show you. Let's see, where is attack? So here's attack right here. The attack code is, we are using input.getButtonDown, and we're checking to see if the user or the player has pressed the fire 1 button. Now again, these are preset in Unity. We go to edit, project settings, input. We've got a list of different input combinations here. So let's look at fire 1. That's the name of it. You can change this to whatever you want. So you can call it attack if you want. And these are set to left control and mouse 0. Okay, so you can change how the input is set up for this particular action. So it kind of makes the controls platform agnostic. So all you're doing in the code is checking to see if the player has pressed fire 1. And if that means the left mouse button on a PC, and it also means the X button on an Xbox controller, or square on a PS4 controller, or tapping the screen on an Android device, whatever the case is, you don't really need to care about that in the code, because all you're checking for is this here, fire 1. So you don't really care what that means. Okay? And then we're using the animator. Now up here, we are getting a reference to the animator that is associated with the game object that this script is attached to. So in this case, it's our Ninja. And then we're using that animator to change the states of the animation using these methods. So there's set trigger, there's set bool, there is set float, and then there's another one for set int if we were using an integer-based parameter. And these can be used to do a lot of different things. So again, there is no right or wrong way how you want to set these up. It really depends on what you want to do. Okay, so let's work on our last animation here, and this is the die animation. Because I'm sure even though ninjas are super awesome, they have to die sometime, right? Die. So we'll set up a new die animation. And we'll come in here, we will find our die frames. Where are the die frames? Maybe they're dead. Oh yeah, they're called dead. Okay. Dead. That goes in here. And see how that looks. All right. That might be appropriate. And we want them to die pretty fast. Let's see how it looks if it's slow. Oh, it's still. Oh, what happened? It didn't change. Yeah, that's pretty slow. I think we want it to happen pretty quick. So let's do, I think 60 is fine. Let's see how that plays out. Okay, for the die, in the code, what we've done is we've set up a trigger check. And on that trigger check, we're just checking the tags for enemy. So in the environment, I've got these spikes here. And I set up a box collider, that's a trigger. and it's set up with an enemy tag. So if we hit these guys, we are going to die. Let's set that up. Now, there's basically two ways you can do this, right? Because you could die from any one of these states. You could die while you're walking, you can die while you're jumping, you can die while you're attacking, unless you wanted to implement some kind of like iframe. We're not doing that here. You can die while you're climbing. So there's potentially, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 transitions all going to this die state. And that's going to get super messy. So in this case, since we can die from any state, we might as well just set up the transition from any state, this guy, to die. And this will be super easy. And we're going to need a new parameter. And we're going to set this one, the boolean, and we're going to call it dead. Player's dead. So of course, let's see. Oh yeah, so it has exit time is already turned off. That's fine. The duration. Our condition, of course, is dead. Dead is true. And we don't need any return because, well, when you're dead, you're dead. Let's see what happens here. Okay. Running, jumping, frolicking, we're playing, and then, oh, we're dead. Kind of. You sleeping? Hello? All right, what's happening there? Let's see. First, over to settings, and let's change the interruption source. Try that. Ooh, nothing. Why? Oh, there we go. Oh, this is a bug. I don't know why. Unity doesn't like that I've created this project and then deleted the animations. Slow this down. That's 32. Dead. Yeah. So when I uncheck dead, for some reason, he dies. And then we can jump. He's doing the worm. Oh, he went back. Okay. Yep, that's Unity. So let's do this. Our die animation, we don't want to loop that, even though it's pretty hilarious. So we'll turn the loop off. And let's go back to play. See what happens. Oh, same thing. All right, and we'll check this. Okay, so he's dead. Played the animation once, and that's it. And of course, we can still move. You can fix that in the code. Just check if player is dead, then, don't accept any inputs, whatever. Okay. Need to fix this. Let's save the scene. We'll save our project. And actually, let's make sure dead is true. Yeah, that's right. These are the settings here. Good. Okay, yeah, it's just Unity. Had the same problem last time. Let's restart Unity. All right, let's see what happens now. Walking. Ooh, don't know what's happening. It's not playing the animation. Is it not playing animation? Let's see. Die. Call it over here. Yep, die. Let's try that. There we go. Okay, that's better. It's looping. He's doing the worm. Okay. Let's see. Die. Ugh. This is the same problem I had last time. It's for some reason it just don't want you to loop. Please don't loop. Try this again. Okay. And still looping. Looked like the has exit time worked. It must have been something with the duration. So let's add that back in. And let's see, what else can we try? Die, loop, no looping. Happens. I don't know what's happening there, but he is not dying 100%. I don't know what's happening. Okay. That's weird. All right, I think I spent enough time on that. You know, the first time I did this in a clean project, everything worked fine. Every time I come in and delete these animations, Unity seems to have an issue with it. Or if maybe you know, then let me know. But otherwise, that is good enough for right now. Okay, so I told you earlier that we're using velocity x. It's a float, and you might think, why use a float when you could use a Boolean? Because, well, we only have one move state, right? That's walk. But in reality, there could be two move states. Walk, there could be walk medium, walk fast, run, supersonic speed, whatever. I mean, there could be multiple movement animations that you want to implement into your game. So one way to do that is you can use the float, right? And you can change the state based on the value of velocity x. So just as an example, it's happening. So, all right, Unity is not happy. Oh, forgot to click ninja. My bad. Create a new clip, and let's just call this run. Run really fast. And run really fast. Grab the run animations. Where are they? Run. Run. All right. Drag those in there. Why? What's happening? Again. Run really fast. Okay, I don't know what's happening with Unity today. Now to select our frames again. You good this time? Okay. Now set this to 100. Got our fast animation. Okay. Over in Animator. Say, for example, so now we have walk, which is our normal animation. Then we have this one called run really fast, and we might make a transition to run really fast when velocity x is greater than 2. Try that. We'll set this one back to idle. Actually, let's make it a little more realistic, because really if you're running super fast, you're not going to just stop, right? So you're going to end up walking. So we'll make the transition back to walk. And we'll set velocity x is less than 2. How about that? And then, of course, we could be walking and then run really fast. So we'll set a transition to velocity x is greater than 2. I think that might be this might have a problem, but let's test it out first. I don't even know if this is gonna. Yeah, we died. Okay, well the problem here is, well, let's actually see what is velocity x getting set to. So in this case, we're at the mercy of, oh yeah. Yeah, it's only going to 1. Okay, so let's try this then. Let's do greater than 0.099. This is 0.99. See what happens. Oh, I didn't do the return. Okay. Freaking died. Okay. Let's see. What's that? 0.98. All right, so you can kind of see it. So we're walking, and then pretty fast. Oh man. Move these spikes out of the way. Let's just turn the spikes off. How about that? There we go. Okay, so we're walking. This is normal walk. Walk. Ooh, run. It's super fast. Okay, so, I mean, you get the point, right? So you can use the float here to just determine how fast you're running, if you have different movement speeds and different animations for those movements. Some people use an integer, so walking would be like integer value of 1 or state 1. Running would be value of state 2, and supersonic would be state 3, and so on and so on. So again, there's really no right or wrong way to set up your parameters. It really just depends on how you want to write the code, the things that you are trying to accomplish with your animation structure, and so on. Okay, so that's it for this session. Thanks for watching.